Hello, I'm Valerie Biden Owens, chair of the Biden Institute at the University of Delaware. Today, I have the privilege of introducing Congressman Maxwell Frost. Congressman Frost has represented Florida's 10th congressional district since 2023, and he is the first Afro-Cuban and Gen Z representative in Congress. Just to be clear, Gen Z is anyone who was born between the late 90s and early 2000s. Thank you, Congressman Frost, for being here today on this episode of All Politics is Personal, which is a program where we introduce the public to the person behind the politician. Anyone can research your politics and accomplishments, but that's not what we're here today to talk about. We're here to talk about you and what it was like growing up Frost.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. And, growing up, Frost meant there was always music in the house, number one. My dad's a full-time musician, not as a hobby, like it's his job. It's what he's done his entire life. And so in the middle of my house, my mom allowed my dad to have his studio in the living room. And so since I was born, really, there's always been music in the house. The sound of steel pans, he's a pan player, trombones, he's a multi-instrumentalist, just always hearing music, always sitting down with my dad, watching him record, watching musicians come in and out of the house. That was always a huge part of it. The other part of it was the fact that my mom just retired after being a public school educator for 37 years.
What did she teach?
She's special education for all 37 years,
God bless her.
which is a difficult job that requires a special person that really has a heart of service. And my mom's that person. So I also grew up going to school with her and watching her stay up late, writing IEPs and figuring out how she can help her students and checking with the parents. And it was really that combination of the arts and culture and service and love that made Maxwell Frost, and that was always around my house.
Well, I think probably what may have required more patience from your mother was your father playing that music
Yeah.
in the living room.
Yeah.
Did he go out on gigs or?
All of it. I mean, my dad he went into the Air Force. He was in the Air Force band for a while, the jazz band. After that, he would tour, with Disney. He played with Tiny Tim before. So he used to go out and tour a lot. And then when I was born, he decided to start gigging more at home.
Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a little sister. Her name is Maria.
So are you? Uh, is she your best friend?
Yes, I mean,
Well, that's a
I
leading question.
yeah,
So what are you gonna
right,
say?
yeah,
No, I
right,
don't like
yeah.
her. Uh,
No, I mean, I love my sister, and she really inspires me too because she's grown up, like all of us, struggling to figure out what you want to do, and she went to the same. We went to an arts middle school and high school, and she's always been great at the arts and as far as like visual arts are concerned. And so, but she didn't major in visual arts in our school. She was like in band and then drama. And now she works at Madame Tussauds, where they had the wax
oh
figures,
yeah,
and she paints them and she makes them, and it's such a cool niche thing in the arts that growing up you might not think about, and she does it. She's probably painted a President Joe Biden one in Madame Tussauds. So
well then that would make me go there for sure.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
take a
yeah.
look at. When you said you were a jock, I guess, then in your art school. You weren't a
Oh
jock
yeah,
on
yeah.
the field. What, and you
Yeah.
played drums?
I played drums. I always joke
Oh my
around
God, your
because
mother is a saint.
yeah, always drums in the house. I always joke around because my school for middle school and high school didn't have sports because we were an art school. So the jocks were the jazz band.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in the jazz band. And
Did you go out and play?
Oh, all the time. I mean, we were really competitive. We would travel the country.
Really?
Yeah, travel the country for music competitions. That school now, the Osceola County School for the Arts, is still kicking butt. They almost every year get accepted to compete in what's called Essentially Ellington, which is the top jazz competition in the entire country for high schoolers. And last year they got first place in the entire country there.
Oh
So
boy.
they're killer. And you know what's really cool? It's a very diverse school. I think it's now mainly Latinos, a lot of black kids, and just people from all across Central Florida. Very diverse culture there, and they're killing it. I mean, I had them performed at my swearing-in ceremony in
Oh,
Orlando.
did you? Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Did you grow up in a multi-generational home?
Yeah. So, my parents adopted me in their late 30s and then had my sister when they were 40. So, I grew up with all my friends having parents that were a lot closer in age to them. So, I always joke around growing up, I didn't get advice, I got wisdom. But it was always great because I always felt like I had such great advice from my parents and that wisdom from my parents that really helped me become who I am today.
That's a pretty remarkable statement. You didn't get advice, you got wisdom. May I use that?
Yes, yeah, you can take it.
Uh, I understand you were close with your grandmother?
Very close. When I was born, my grandma moved from Hialeah to Orlando for 2 straight years to help raise me and take care of me because my mom would be at school and then my dad would be at work. And so she was always there. She helped raise me, and we just uh, recognized a few days ago was the year anniversary of her passing away. She passed away during my campaign. So it was really difficult. I miss her every day. But I'm at the point now, I guess, where I mean, I still cry about it, but most of the time now when I think about her, I'm smiling, and I do feel her with me all the time.
You sound like my children. My husband Jack and I have 3 kids, a girl, boy, boy, girl. I know my kids. I got that straight.
Yeah, yeah.
And they preferred, I'm sure they preferred being with my mother and father, mama and dada, than to us. So that's really, it adds a whole new dimension to raising a child to have a different generation in the house, and
Exactly.
you get a lot from that. So you are traveling with the band in school, in your jazz band. You're going outside and doing your own gigs, and then you become an activist in the
Yeah.
community. And how did that happen?
So it happened. It was, so before every jazz band concert, my best friends and I would go to a restaurant across the street from our school, and we would just like, load up on chicken wings and fries and junk food. And I remember sitting there with my friends, and there was a silence that fell across the entire restaurant. We look at the television screen, and we see that somebody walked into an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut, and murdered 20 children and 6 teachers. It had a huge impact on me. And that's really what pushed me to come to DC for one of the first times I've ever been here for the vigil for all victims of gun violence. And it was there meeting the families and specifically the kids that were my age that had lost their loved ones in that shooting. It really pushed me to get involved with action. But there was another time where the arts and the politics really came together for me. And when I was 15 years old, well, when I was 14 and 15, I was a fellow with the Obama Biden reelection campaign in Orlando. And after the win happened, my dad and I really wanted to go to the inauguration. So I'm like 15 years old. I go online. I'm looking at the website trying to figure out how do we get tickets. And I see this banner at
You
the
could have
bottom.
called me.
Yeah, I know. I could have should have just called you. There's a banner at the bottom that says apply to perform. Well, at the time, I had just started a salsa band called Seguro que Sí at my school with just my best friends. So I'm just like, yeah, I'll apply. So I apply. Then a few weeks later, I get an email saying, congratulations, you moved to the next phase. You need a letter of recommendation from your US Senator. I don't know anything about politics. I just go online and find Bill Nelson's office number and I call every day for like 2 weeks. And then one day I have the letter of recommendation. And so then we sent it in. And then a few weeks later, we got notified that we got accepted to represent Florida in the parade. And that's what we did. We were the first salsa band to ever perform in a presidential inauguration parade in the parade before. And that's that video of Obama dancing is actually my band playing.
And this is when you're 15 and 16?
This is when I was 15 years old. We had to raise $18,000 because they don't pay the presidential inaugural committee doesn't pay for the bands that come up. And when I first went to my principal and even my parents, they were like, "Good job applying, but we can't raise that type of money in such a short amount of time." So I actually took my winter break and I went out and I went door to door to businesses and I raised half of it by myself. And then when I got back from winter break, then the school helped raise the rest. And then we went up, and that was one of the first times that music and politics really collided for me was playing in that
Do you
parade.
still play?
Yeah, I still play all the time.
Uh, Politics. Was it really just the flip of the switch of Sandy Hook that threw you into it?
Well, it's always about the environment that's created. So my parents were never really activists per se, but my dad is he knows a ton about politics. He researches it. He knows a ton about it. He watches the news. He would have me watch the news with him. So the environment was ripe for an activist, an organizer to come out of it. And then sometimes you just need that call to action where you go from it being something that you're interested in or that you talk about to something you actually want to be involved in. And for me, it was really easy because before that, I had been so involved and passionate on organizing concerts at my school and organizing shows. And I actually see a direct connection between bringing people together around like organizing on a political thing or organizing to get people to an event. And so it was very natural for me to come home and start collecting petitions and organizing rallies and going to events after Sandy Hook.
So was Sandy Hook the reason? What was that the issue that you ran on? The principal issue that you ran on?
What I ran on was more issues because Sandy Hook is what got me involved in politics in the first place. After I graduated high school, my first job was being a field organizer for Hillary Clinton in Fort Myers, Florida. I'd work many special elections across the country after that as an organizer. Got hired at the ACLU, and when I worked at the ACLU and then March for Our Lives, I started becoming very passionate about other issues, so civil rights, civil liberties, different things like that. So I ran on many different issues, but gun violence was a huge one. I also ran on affordable housing, which is a huge problem in Central Florida right now. A lot of people know me because I couldn't find an apartment when I got up here, and I got denied 2 apartments, and I still struggled with that in Orlando as a member of Congress just a couple months ago when I was moving at home. So these are real issues that are impacting people in the state across the country, and I wanted to make sure I didn't run on just one issue, but
Yeah.
a slew of issues.
When your family was all together, when you a kid growing up, did your parents or your grandmother, what you call her Yaya? Is that
Yeah, yeah,
yeah?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, was there a particular saying or a rule that your parents, like from growing up,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
it was my father is your word is your bond.
Mm,
Doesn't matter how many times you get knocked
yeah,
down, you gotta get up quickly.
yeah.
And that was a refrain that we heard
Mm,
the whole time of our lives and till they died.
yeah.
Uh, did you have anything like that? That
Yeah. Oh yeah, a ton. I mean, with my dad, it was he had my dad. My he's ex GI. So right, like he has a ton of like military sayings that he'd always tell me. Hope for the best, plan for the worst is like one of the
yeah.
top ones. Or give me the bad news first. Always give the bad news first. These are things that stick in my head from my dad. My grandma, yeah. I was just talking about this with my mom a little bit ago. Until really that last few years of her life, throughout my life, most of the advice I got from my abuela, my grandma, was like super like very practical advice. And I think a lot of like Latino young people get this from their abuelas too. It's like my grandma would always like the things I remember is her telling me to like matica, like chew your food, chew
Oh,
chew.
keep your mouth closed.
Yeah, yeah, or like save up for a house. Like even when I'm like 18, make sure you're saving up for a house. You need to buy a house. You need to buy a car. Comments on if I was dating someone. Just very like practical advice. So it wasn't until the end really that I started getting more of this kind of like more like life advice or like fighting for what you believe in, learning about her story. But it was always on very practical things, and I think it comes from a place where she came here from Cuba in the late
And your
1960s
mom did.
with my mom and my aunt and my grandpa. And she came with nothing. She had to work like 3 factory jobs in Hialeah, making like less than $1 an hour. No protections, overworking, being exploited. And I think that, as she's giving me advice, I think she's giving me the advice she I don't want to say wish she could have taken, but wish that she could have taken had she had the resources and opportunity. And I think that's a lot of times for a lot of immigrant parents, a lot of the advice they'll give you are really like practical things because they're thinking about like how can their life be better than mine. Yeah.
What's your father? Where does he hail from?
My dad was born in Topeka, Kansas, and then he was raised in Bermuda because his dad was in the Air Force. So I think that's where my dad really picked up like steel pan and he plays conch shell and everything like that. Because my dad's a white man, but he plays the steel pan. So like all the time at my house, it is all my dad's friends are like West Indian, and so that was always like in the house and that culture, which is a big part of like Central Florida. I mean, we're really not to be too cliche, but we're really a melting pot in Central Florida. We have huge populations of, my district is a third black, a third white, a third Latino generally, right? And then within those different groups, you have the whole diaspora there.
Yeah.
We have a large contingency of Haitians in Central Florida, West Indian folks. It's really beautiful. I really love my district.
How about the kids that you were friends with in high school? Are you still tight with them?
Oh yeah, my best friends in the world. I always say like my friends and I, part of the things we did, we would like, go to the movies, hang out, be teenagers, but we always were working on projects together, whether it was the inauguration or planning a music festival or planning an event, we were always doing projects. And so that's like a core part of the friendships I had in high school and still now. So when I decided to run for Congress, when I didn't really have any volunteers, it was my friends that would come over to help me and my friends that would come over to do things. I actually was just on a call with my friend Sam. I'm hoping I can get home tomorrow for Orlando Pride. And what we do every year is we rent a flatbed semi truck. I get some of my friends and we build a stage on it. We throw a generator on there, we strap down speakers, and we put a band on there. We have a moving stage. And so those are my friends who come and donate their time and talents to it.
Did you run against an incumbent?
No, so the person who held my seat before was Val Demings. She was running for the Senate. So it was an open seat. I did run against it was a 10-person primary. Two of my opponents were former members of Congress who represented areas of the district I represent, and one was a state senator who was in for about a decade. So we had a great group of candidates running. It was a hard fought race. It was difficult.
Where'd you get them? How much money did you have to raise?
I raised $2.1 million for my primary.
God bless you. And how old were you?
24. I was elected at 25, but I ran during 24 and 25. My entire 25th year of my life was the whole campaign. That's all I did. I would campaign. When I ran out of money, I started to Uber. So for about a year, I would campaign from 8 a.m., 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Uber from around 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. And that was my life. And that's why I advocate a lot to make running for office more accessible to people. Because, I mean, if you already have money, it's easier. But, I mean, if you want to win a race for Congress, that has to be your job.
Yeah.
And so I quit my job to run, ran out of money, started Ubering so I could pay my rent. I was houseless for 2 months during my campaign because I couldn't afford rent. And so it was difficult. It shouldn't be easy to run for office, but it shouldn't be damn near impossible.
Well, it's critical what's happening in. It speaks to the state of our democracy.
Yes.
Just we miss so many people, and so many people can't get involved because they don't have access. They can't, especially in voting rights, and they're not able to do it. And they don't have money, and we're in trouble. But I don't want to get into a political
Yeah.
discussion with you. Can I switch to
Yeah.
something that's a little bit more vacuous or fun?
Yeah.
Okay,
Please
so I'm
do.
going to give you some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I mean, working full time in music would be the other thing. I've always wanted to be a tour manager, which I
A
did
tour manager?
yeah, like a music
Oh, a
tour.
music tour.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Which I've done like a small one, but I've always wanted to be on the road for a year in a tour bus sort of thing.
One word to describe yourself.
Passionate, I would say.
Favorite TV show?
Right now, I would say Better Call Saul.
Do you have a hidden talent?
Hidden talent. No, not that I can think of.
You mean it's
I
all
don't
here right
know.
now?
I feel like, yeah, I mean, I can't whistle. I can do this. Does that?
Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
My superpower would be teleportation.
Okay, I'll go on that trip with
It
you.
used to be flying, but I don't want to fly if I can't also be invincible
Okay.
because there's a lot of dangers in the sky.
Okay. Okay. You've thought of all the
I've thought
angles
of
of it.
this.
Okay.
I've thought of this.
All right. Your favorite color?
Sky blue.
Yeah. Okay. And what's your birthday? I don't. The date. I mean.
January 17th.
And that makes you, what sign are you?
Capricorn.
Do you put any stock in any of that?
Um, a little bit. I mean, so many people in my life do, so I kind of have to.
Yeah.
But a little bit. I'm always told that I am a Capricorn, so apparently I act like one.
I have to look it up. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I looked it up once and I was a little offended, but then I looked it up again and then I felt better about it. So I guess it depends on what definition you read.
I'm a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that's the same way. It could be really good or it
Yeah.
could be really bad. Your theme song.
My theme song. This is a good one. I would say There's a song called Brujeria that is by El Gran Combo. It's a salsa song. I grew up listening to it. I would say that, even though I'm not into brujeria, which is like witchcraft. But either way,
Oh.
I do love that song. It's a salsa song.
What's its name again? I got a
Brujeria.
Blue Hidia.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go
Yeah,
take
you
a
should
look. I'm
listen
going
to
to go
it. It's a
listen
good
to that.
song. It's a fun one.
All right, now,
My grandma used to play it for me all the time.
well, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I admire your reach and your vision and all the good things that you want to do. So just keep giving them hell, okay?
I appreciate
there.
it. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you to our partners, the Stavros Niarchos Foundation. And remember, all politics is personal.